Hey, how you doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. I have to do an update. I'm doing an update on a video I did 2 days ago now. And it was on the counterpoints, or the fastest big knife from Cold Steel. Fastest mega folder from Cold Steel. And I found out something today, actually this evening, that I thought I would share with everybody, because I was on the internet talking to people about my videos and stuff, and I talked to one person and I did a big old long response, and it was mainly about the mega folders and what I thought of the new Cold Steel Counterpoint XL. And I say I like the knife, I like it as a collector or whatever, but I wasn't planning on carrying it. And the reason why I was planning on carrying it is because I thought it was too big and bulky, and it was slow, and it opened slow, and it just, I don't know, it was a little bit of disappointment to me. I didn't say all that, but I did say it was slow or whatever. And I just want to correct that, because I found out something today that made me change my whole point of view on the Counterpoint XL. First, let's talk about it. Let's start off with, this weighs 8.6 ounces. It weighs 8.6 ounces. In the catalog, it'll tell you that it weighs 7.9 ounces. That's not true. It weighs 8.6 ounces. I weighed it out on my trusty scale, like you guys see me use all the time. And it's very accurate. And it does weigh 8.6 ounces. It does not weigh 7.9 ounces. And I wondered why. Because this one weighs 8 ounces. Again, in the catalog, they say this one weighs 7.2 ounces. It actually weighs 8 ounces. It doesn't weigh 7.2 ounces. It weighs 8 ounces. 8 ounces. I don't know if that's because it has a Tonto blade. I know Tonto blades are always heavier than the clip blades. Clip blades that they use on these are full flat ground. So that means that they're not as thick as these. See how this one is? This is 4 millimeters. This whole section right here is 4 millimeter. On a flat grind, you don't have that because it's ground all the way, like a V grind all the way down to the edge tip. It has like a V grind all the way down the edge tip. It's perfectly flat almost. Sometimes they have a little bit of a hollowness to them, but usually they're just pretty much all the way flat. And that's one reason why the flat ground blades are lighter than, let's say, a blade like this or a clip blade that's hollow ground, because actually they have more meat to them because they stay thick all the way to about halfway the bevel of the blade, like the center line of the blade. So you can see that. See what I'm talking about? It stays perfectly 4 millimeters thick all the way through here, and that's what makes the Tonto blade design so strong. Is because of the backbone of it. The backbone of the blade is super thick. It's like a straight bar of steel. Whereas a hollow grind blade doesn't have that. Hollow grind blade is only thick up here on the spine, and then from there it's ground all the way down to the edge. This makes it a better slasher, not a better slasher, but a better shearing knife, because that's why they use this kind of knife for like meat processing, like in a butcher or whatever, or for vegetables or whatever. It's a good culinary knife because it's flat ground, because when you cut stuff, it cuts all the way through it nice and evenly, and it cuts through nice and smoothly, makes nice clean cuts. Whereas this one, it catches a little bit of friction right here when you're trying to cut too deeply into something. But like if you're skinning an animal or something like that, these are better, because you can usually get a finer edge, and you can have a real nice sharp edge on these, and they're easy to resharpen and everything else. So like these are good for like skinning or something like that, or in this case a combat knife. And these are better for doing like cutting all the way through meat. Like if you're going to shear all the way through the meat, cut all the way through something. Or like if you're going to cut like a zombie's head off. This would be a better type of blade. A flat ground blade would be better for cutting somebody's head off, or cutting off a limb or something like that, if you get in zombie combat. Because this will tend to only go so deep. It won't cut as deeply as this one. And that's what I understand, and that's my experience. These, like when you're processing meat, because I grew up hunting and fishing and stuff like that, so I've used knives for cutting up animals a lot. but these are better for doing deep cuts. These are better for when you got different kind of edge though. You don't want a tanto blade, because tanto blades are mainly Marshall blades. They're made for combat. If you have like a blade like with a round edge like this, like a clip, that's good for skinning. It's good for doing all sorts of different kind of things. Okay, let's get back to what I'm talking about now. Okay, this one weighs 8.6 ounces. This one weighs 8 ounces. In the book it says weighs 7.2. In the book this one says it weighs 7.9. They're both heavier than what they're listed at. This one is supposed to weigh, according to the book, 7.7 ounces. It weighs 6.9 ounces exactly, 6.9 ounces. In the book it says it weighs 7.7 ounces. The weight's off. This one in the book says it weighs 13.4 ounces. It actually weighs 13.1 ounces, a little bit lighter. This one in the book says it weighs 6.8 ounces and actually weighs 6.3 ounces. I have two of them. I weighed both of them. Both of them weigh exactly the same, 7.3 ounces. Just to let you know that the book is not what you see in the catalog as far as the weights are concerned, and you buy these and you get them on your own. I don't know if you have your own scale like I do. You can weigh them out and you can see for yourself. The weights are off. And the reason why I bring that up is because I'm a person with a flat behind, and my waistline is bigger than my behind size. And so if I'm carrying something like this in my pocket, it weighs down my pants because this weighs 13.1 ounces, almost a pound. It pulls down my pants eventually. I always have to keep pulling up my pants all day long. That's the reason why I don't like big, heavy folders. It's not because they're long or whatever. I love a long knife, because this is better for defense. The bigger the blade to me, the better it is for defense, just as long as you conceal it, easily. But this one is too heavy for me to carry in my pocket. This is a good camp knife. I would say this is a camp folder, or for using, because it's a chopping blade, and I think that's what this is for. This blade is good for shearing and chopping. Not really stabbing. It could be a stabbing blade, but it's not really designed for that. It's more of like, this would be like a hand axe sort of. This blade, the bayonet style blade, goes back, as far as I know, to World War II. Because my father gave me a bayonet out from World War II. It had the same type of blade. It was longer, and it was thicker, and it was more heavy duty. It's made out of 1095 carbon steel, and it's like, it's a real heavy duty blade, but it was still the same blade style. And this blade style has been around forever, and it's been totally proven in combat. It's been, these kind of blades have been in lots of war theaters, and it's just a really proven blade. I love bayonet blades. This and the cold steel bayonet, because it has a partial hollow grind, it has a really nice edge on it, and you could use this one for skinning. This would be good for skinning. It'd be good for anything you want to use it for. And I heard, like on the internet, I heard somebody said this is only good for stabbing. No, this knife would be good for slashing. It would be good for stabbing. It would be good for a lot of things. For as far as like a fighting knife is concerned, because this is really one of the ultimate fighting blades. This type of blade, like next to a Bowie blade, this is probably one of the most famous type of blades for a fighting knife, a combat knife. This type of blade is good for stabbing. It's good for doing shearing cuts, and I just like it because it's light, and that's the main reason why I like this knife. It's not so much because of the blade design; it's because it's so light. 6.9 ounces. This weighs less than the Thai Light. The Thai Light weighs more than this one, and it feels like it weighs more. If you hold these both in your hand, you see what I'm saying. They're fairly close, but this one weighs a little bit more, and you can feel it. This one feels featherweight. It feels like it's super light. It feels like it doesn't weigh, hardly anything at all. I mean, it feels like it should weigh more. And it's super light, and it's super fast. This is a super fast blade. Super fast to open. Okay. This is a combat blade also. It's a Japanese style combat blade. And this version right here, this is Cold Steel's American Tanto style that was created by Lynn Thompson. And it is famous for its snap cut ability. But this is a very good combat blade because the blade is thick all the way down to the point, which makes it super strong. These are supposed to be armor piercing. You're supposed to be able to stab through body armor with these because the blade tip is so strong. That's what makes, that's why I like Tontos, because Tontos are some badass, shut your mouths. Tonto blades are awesome. Traditional stiletto style blade is thinner and is primarily it's supposed to be used as a stabbing or thrusting instrument, which is like these two also. These are all, you know, to me, thrusting blades because of the blade shape. They have a sort of a spear shape. And spear shapes, we all know, are good for stabbing or penetrating, for thrusting. That's what these kind of blade types are good for. This one is sharp also, but this is better as far as like edge holding. I mean, because the way it's just the design of the blade. It's going to be a better blade for, you know, holding the edge, being able to resharpen and everything else like this. This one you'll be able to sharpen it so many times, and then it'll probably get too thick and it'll be hard to sharpen. This one you can sharpen for a long time because it's thinner. Okay, back to what I learned. What I learned about this one is that, you know, why it's so heavy. It weighs 8.6 ounces as opposed to 8 ounces of this one. And I thought they were made the same way. I thought they had Grivery handles, heat-treated liners, and Grivery back spacers. That's the way all the Grivery models are made. That's the way this one's made. Grivery scales, heat-treated aluminum liners, and Grivery back spacer. That's the way all those ones have been made, you know, to this date. This one's different. This one's different. And there's a reason why it's heavy. The reason why it's heavy is because the back spacer. The back spacer is not plastic, it's not Grivery or whatever you want to call it. It's heat-treated 6061 aluminum. And this aluminum piece, because I took it all the way apart, and I wanted to find out where the weight was. It's right here. This piece weighs 4 grams, which makes sense, because if this one had a 6-inch blade and a 7-inch handle, it would probably weigh another 2 grams or so, which would make it about 8.2 ounces, right? It weighs 8 ounces. It'd add about another couple of grams to it because of the extra weight. This one, if you took away the weight of this, it'd knock it back down to what this one weighs, if this one was longer. So that makes sense to me. I took it all the way apart, and I found out these screws screw into this aluminum back spacer. They don't screw into the heat-treated aluminum liner. They screw into the back spacer. Very nice. This one's built like a tank. It's the only one that's made like that. This one will hold, it's advertised in this 2014 catalog as being able to suspend 450 pounds off the end of it. Testing the lock strength, 450 pounds. This one holds 450 pounds, you know, off the end of it, you know, holding weight. And they have the plastic back spacer. And the reason why that's important is because your tension spring that operates the lock bar is embedded into the back spacer. And like the Espadas, the one that holds 600 pounds, it has a heat-treated aluminum back spacer. That's what makes it different. Excuse me. It has a heat-treated aluminum back spacer. I don't know if that makes it hold more, but you know, it does hold more. It holds 150 pounds more than this one does. So I estimate that this one, if these can hold 450, I bet you this one might be able to hold 550. I don't know, maybe more. I think this is probably the strongest cold steel knife that is made with the Grivery handles and aluminum liners. I don't know that for sure. I'm boasting a little bit from what I've learned, but I think this design is going to be stronger than the Raja, and it's going to be stronger than the Voyager. I think it's going to be stronger than both of those. So it's probably the strongest mega folder that Cold Steel makes. It's not the biggest, but I bet you it's the strongest. It's not the heaviest, but I bet you it's the strongest. The reason why this one's so heavy is because it has a thicker blade. This is not 4 millimeters, it's almost 5 millimeters, like 4.8, if I'm not mistaken. 4.8 millimeters or something like that. It's thicker. And that's where you get the extra weight from, because the thicker the blade, the heavier the knife. But this one has a 4 millimeter blade with the heat-treated aluminum back spacer, and I think that's going to make this one stronger. I think this is a really good knife. That's what I'm trying to get at. I think this is a really good knife, and that's the reason why it's heavier. And if the reason why it's heavier is because the design is better and it's stronger, then that's okay to me. It makes it, it makes it even a better value, makes it worth more to me because, you only get that feature in the more expensive cold steel knives, the ones that cost around $100 or more. And so, for a $75 knife to have that feature in it, that's a major step up to me. Next, when I took it all the way apart, I looked at every piece and every part that's in it. I've had lots of these knives, and I've always taken them apart and looked at them. This one's the best made. It's better made than any other knife I have. All the parts are very nicely finished, and they're all, the grind lines are symmetrical, and it's just a really nicely made knife. And I don't know if I got the best one that they made that day or what, but this is like a perfect knife. It's made perfectly. There's no flaws in it. I saw somebody opening and closing this on a demonstration on the internet, and they were having problems closing it. And I could see why, maybe, because on this one, the lock bar seats in so deeply into the blade tang that you have to really depress the lock bar in order to get it to disengage. You have to press it all the way down. And it's kind of hard because the spring tension is hard. The spring tension is hard. It's not the easiest knife to close, but it closes smoothly. There's no gritty feeling, no nothing like that. All you're feeling is spring pressure. The spring is like super strong, and you got to really push it. It takes, see, I don't know if you can see that, but I'll show you. Let me get my thumb to. Let me do this for you. You have to really push it. So I'm using a lot of pressure there. And see what it does to my thumb? It puts a little dent in my thumb. So it is a super strong knife. It has a super strong lockup. I don't think this knife will ever fold back on your hand. And I think this is probably going to be one of the strongest knives that Cold Steel has ever made. Next to maybe the Espadas. The Espadas are the strongest because they can hold the most weight. At least that's what they advertise. But I don't know. I think this one will hold a lot of weight too. I think it's a super well-made knife. Okay, now the trick that I learned that I wanted to share with you that's really turned me back onto the Counterpoint XL, because I've been waiting for this one for 2 years. I've been expecting to get this one for 2 years, and I've been waiting and waiting. And when I finally got it, I thought it was so slow. Why is it open so slow? And it's like, I couldn't open it fast. I was like, trying to get it to open, and even when I flicked it, it wasn't like super fast. But there's a little trick to this one that I learned. And then what I learned it from was my Tie-Lite 6. The Tie-Lite 6, the way I open this one is I use the holes. I put my pinky finger in the hole that's right in front of the clip. Can you see that? That's the reason why I like this one over the aluminum handle one. I don't like the aluminum handle one because you can't do this. Put your finger right in there and then bam. Because it gives you enough leverage to really hold on to the knife and flick it really nice. And my method for flicking is push, flick. Push, flick. Push, flick. That's the way I do it. And then when you do it in one motion, it just flows. See that? Push, flick. So do one motion. Super fast, isn't it? Switchblades, I have switchblades, they don't open this fast. Now little switchblades open fast, but when you get into the 13 inch switchblades, they're always slow because they have that big heavy blade to kick out. Unless you got a super strong spring, which most of them don't. I'm talking about the AKCs and Beltramis. I don't have any cheap switchblades. And all the ones I have are 13 inches and 11 inches. I don't have any little tiny ones. Because those are I like bigger knives. Let's see, using that method. And then you apply that to this one. In order to do it, I had to swap the clip around. The clip is normally on this side if you're set it for a right-hand person. I'm a right-hand person, but it was in my way. And this is not a wave knife, so it doesn't really matter which side the clip thing is on because you're not going to wave it up your pocket anyway. And so I flipped it around, or you could just take it all the way off if you're not going to use a clip, if you don't really need one. And use the holes. The second hole is what I use. And the reason why I had to move the clip is because you can see on this side, it sort of covers the second hole. And you can't stick your finger in there. So when you flip it over, you stick your finger in there, and bam! Now you, yeah! Now it's talking. Now it's getting busy. Yeah! It's ready for combat. It's ready to scare the shit out of somebody. Like racking around in a Remington A70. Bam! You hear that noise, you know it's time for business. That's a real knife there. Look at that. I love it. I love it. It makes my dick hard. This is an awesome blade. This is an awesome blade. I'm gonna be carrying this one. I'm gonna get another one now. At first I wasn't gonna get another one. You know, originally I planned to get. I thought I was gonna like it and get another one, and I was telling everybody that's what I was gonna do. And then after I got it, I said, nah, I'll just be a collector. It'll just sit in my knife roll in the safe, and I'll see it a few times a year. But no, this is gonna be a bike knife. This is gonna be going on some trips with me. I like it. I like it. I think this is the best made cold steel knife there is, next to my Tau War and the whole. I like the holdout too. Those are my three favorites now. Actually, I like the Recons too. Recons, Tau Wars, holdouts, and I like the Voyager series too. All the Voyagers are nice. I don't care, except for the small ones. I don't like the small Voyager, but I like the large and the extra large Voyagers. I like all of the Recons. Even the small Recons are nice. They fit my hand nice. I like all of these too. All the counterpoints are nice. They all fit my hand nice. I don't care what size you get. All three sizes are fit in your hand nice. The holdouts are nice too. All three of the holdouts fit in my hand nice. All the Rogers are nice. But the small Voyager, I don't want that one because it doesn't fit my hand right. But yeah, this is rock solid. I think it's just as fast as this one now. Remember in my other video I was saying this one was the fastest one for the Grivexes? You know, it still is lightning fast. But you gotta remember, I've had this one for several years, and it's been on lots of bike trips, and it's had a lot of use, and so it should be fast because it's been open and closed a lot of times. Whereas the Counterpoint XL is brand new. I've only had that for a few days. And I think I can open it just as fast. I think I can open this one just as fast as I can the Voyager. What do you think? Let's compare them. I'll do 3 flips. And do the other big Grivex I have. That's a Triad. I guess they're all about the same. I'm sitting there watching myself do it as I film this, and I think they're about the same. This one just feels a little bit slower because it's so heavy that you have to concentrate on holding it a little bit more. And I think it's just a mental thing in my mind. But I think they're all about the same. Now, for this one, do the same thing. Flip your put your clip on your weak side, and don't worry about which side it's on, because you can't wave this out your pocket anyway. Finger in the hole. I think this is the fastest. But this is not the Grivery one though. This is the G10 one. I still think this is the fastest G10. I think it's the fastest knife next to the cold steel tie light I have. I think this is just as fast as a tie light almost. Tie lights might get it by a millisecond or something, but this one feels like it's super fast. And it's super light. It's the lightest 13-inch knife that Cold Steel makes. It's the lightest one. It's the most concealable 13-inch knife that Cold Steel makes because of the handle shape. And the reason why I didn't get this one a long time ago when they first came out is because I thought my hand would slide up on the blade. But after owning it, I found out, no, that won't happen. Because this grip, this American G10 is so good and so grippy that if you got a good grip on it, ain't no way in the world your hand's gonna slide forward, because the G10 holds you, and plus the way the handle's shaped, you have to loosen up your hand just to go forward, because your hand can't go forward because it widens up as it goes forward. And if you got a good grip, your grip's not gonna widen up. So this is a really awesome bite. I mean, awesome knife. It's not a bite. Awesome knife. And I think and what makes it so good is that I think this is the most concealable knife that's a big mega blade. This is the most concealable mega blade. I think anybody who likes cold steel mega blades, that's into collecting them or having the best ones that they make, you got to have this. And it's $39 right now, or $39.95 at Knife Center, and like $42 at OsoGrandeKnives.com. The other place I would recommend. And the reason why I didn't go through OsoGrandeKnives.com is because they're based in California, and I wanted to avoid the taxes, so I went through Knife Center, which are out of our state, and so I don't have to pay the taxes. And so it makes this one about, because I bought like 3 knives at one time, and it was like $100 bill, and it would add $10 if I'd have went to Oso Grande. So I'm just saving them another $10. It all counts, right? But Oso Grande has knives too, but they're a little bit more expensive for certain models than the Knife Center. You need to go and check it out for yourself, and you see what I'm talking about. But they're selling knives for about the same price that you buy them on eBay. And the reason why I decided to go through an online store this time is because my last 3 knives that I bought before these, I bought them, I think it was in December, and all 3 of them had issues. I bought a Tau War XL. I bought the Recon 1 XL when both of those first came out. I bought them right then, just like I did these. And I bought both of those, and I bought the Tonto Code 4, and all of them had messed up lock bars. Like I showed you the other day, the lock bar is this piece right here, and the lock bar had grind marks in it. Like, I don't know, like if it was unfinished or something, like it had been finished properly at factory or whatever. And what I had to do was take it apart and sand down the grind marks out. And I did it on a block sander, so I did it perfectly even. I didn't, tilt it or whatever. And you just lightly do it. You just take off what you need to take off, and it works. And both of my knives work perfectly fine now. And the problem that I was having with them is that they're real gritty. Like when you go to close it, it was like a gritty feeling. I don't know how to explain it unless you've experienced it yourself. You probably might have a problem understanding what I'm saying. But it was real gritty, and they would always go into fixed blade mode. When you flicked them hard or something, they'd like, you couldn't unlock them, and you had to like push them up against your furniture or something to unlock it. But once I did that, they operated smoothly. And all the other cold steel knives I've ever had were always smooth right here. That's the reason why I figured that's what the problem was. And it was hitting it's like they had extra metal on it, on the extra steel on the end of the lock bar, like it needed to be smoothed out or have some of it shaved off or whatever. And it was also hitting the stop pin, this pin right here. That's what enables this knife to be so strong, is the stop pin. Stop pin. That's what makes it better than a regular lockback. But once I did that, I cured the problem. I haven't had a problem with the knife since. And my Tau War and my Recon XL are 2 of my favorite knives for the G10 models. But this one, I think, is going to beat them out now. I like the Tau War though. This can't replace the Tau War, because the Tau War is wavable out my pocket. This one's not. But this is the most concealable knife I have. I know I'll be using this a lot. I won't be using this one though, because I'm gonna get another one. I'm gonna get another counterpoint, because I'm gonna collect. The next one I get, I'm gonna collect. I'm gonna carry this one. I'm gonna collect. This one's gonna be collected, because I'm not a big fan of the serrated blades. I like a plain edge. So I'm gonna get one of these in plain edge, and I can get one for around $75 in plain edge. And that's what I think I'm gonna do. But it's not gonna be right away. It's gonna be down the road. You'll see a video on it when I get it. But that'll be the one I carry, because I really like these. These are awesome because they're so light. They're so light. They sort of remind me of the original Vaqueros and Voyagers I originally liked before they came out with the Triad model. Those were real light too, but those were like, I hate to say it, but the handles were kind of cheap. compared to these. These handles are really nice. These are way better than the old ones. Okay, that's about it. All I got to say on that. Can't think of anything else I need to say. You know, except for, you know, I was bad mouthing this one on the internet yesterday because I was depressed. I was, you know, because I'd waited on it so long and I got it and I thought it was slow. This is not a slow knife. Once you do what I just said to it, it becomes lightning fast, just as fast as any of the other cold steels, except for maybe a Tylite. But I think it's just as fast as any of the other ones. And, you know, it feels good in hand. And it's a little bit heavy for me, but now that I know why, it's a good heavy, though. You know, it's good. It's just, also what they were trying to do is probably make this knife to be the strongest knife that they could make, and I think they succeeded at that. It's very strong. The only thing I would like to see on one of these one day is I'd like to see American G10. That's the only way you can improve this knife to me is put an American G10 on it. American G10, because I wish all their knives had American G10. You know, Grivory's good. Grivory's a good, you know, good. And so, you know, so they can, you know, probably offer a knife at a lower price range or whatever. It's probably one reason why they use Grivory. But I like the American G10. I'd pay a little bit more for it if it had American G10. Because I think this is one of the most awesome knives that they make. Why? Because I'm a stiletto person. I love stilettos. You know that. I love my stilettos. But anyway, that's about all I got to say about that. Again, this blade is for like chopping and shearing. That's what this type of blade is good for. Chopping and shearing. Heavy utility work. This kind of blade is good for full flat ground blade. And this shape is good for culinary work and defense. Because it's a thrusting blade. This is another type of stiletto to me. I know it's a Scottish Skene Do, you know, type blade or type knife style. But to me, it's just another type of dagger, stiletto, dirk, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's that type of knife to me. It's, you know, it's a fighting knife. It's a thrusting knife, but it also can be used for, you know, food processing. This blade, partial hollow ground, chisel ground on the tip, so that you got super strong tip, and a blade that can be, you know, be honed to razor edge with the partial hollow ground. Strong backbone, 4 millimeters thick all the way to the tip. It's probably one of the strongest blade designs out of all these. The Tonto, the American Tonto, developed by Lynn Thompson. That's one reason why I like these, because it's Lynn Thompson's design. He designed it, I think it was back in the 80s when they first came out with the American Tonto design. Awesome blade, awesome blade, awesome blade. And if you're a collector of cold steel, to me, because it's a Lynn Thompson design, it makes it more collectible. In the future, not right now, but in the future, after they stop making them, maybe Lynn Thompson's, I won't say that. But you know what I'm saying. If you're a collector, you understand what I'm saying. This one is also a very strong blade design. It's got partial hollow grind, so you can get, so just like the Tonto, you can get a razor edge sharpness on this one. So it's good for more than just stabbing. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is a stabbing blade. Stabbing, it has a snap cut edge. It's meant to be a martial blade. It's meant to be a fighter. That's the purpose of a Tonto blade. Same thing with this. This is a martial blade also. This is a Japanese style martial blade. This is American style martial blade. Americans are the ones that use bayonet blades in war and conflicts. World War II, my dad brought back from World War II from the Pacific Theater. He had a bayonet that he gave me when I was a kid that used to go on his rifle, his military rifle when he was in the Marine Corps. And it had a bayonet blade on it. It had a bayonet blade on it. Made out of 1095 carbon, I assume, most likely. But, you know, it was a bayonet, and it was a big, long bayonet, but it had the same type of style blade. These blades have been in a lot, just about every American theater that we've ever been in. Americans have used these kind of blades. So I got a lot of, you know, faith in this kind of blade. And the kind of steel that they, you know, cold steel uses AUS 8A, Japanese AUS 8A steel, is perfect for folding knives. I wouldn't use it in a big fixed blade, because all big fixed blades, in my opinion, need to have a 1095 or 1095 Crovan or a 3, what do you call it? What's cold steel called 1095 Crovan? They call it CPM 3V. CPM 3V. That's the other name for 1095 Crovan. CPM 3V is 1095 Crovan. Don't get it confused. CPM 3V is 1095 Crovan. It's an American steel. It's not a foreign steel. It's American steel. That's the steel that Americans have always used in hunting knives and combat knives. It's been around forever. I think since like the 1950s or something like that. And then before then they had 1095 HC. That's what was probably in my bayonet. And the original K-bars. All K-bars now uses 1095 Crovan. Awesome steel. But for folding knife, a folding knife is not meant to be doing batoning and all the other stuff like you see on the videos and stuff. People are using them for like batoning wood and stuff like that. That's not the purpose of a folding knife. Folding knives aren't meant for that. You know, if you're doing that with your folding knife, you know, I think you should expect your folding knife not lasting too long. I had the same knives I had from when I was a little kid. I've kept all my knives throughout my life. I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm not a youngster. I have lots of knives because I've always loved knives ever since I was a kid. And I never batoned with them. You know, I grew up hunting and fishing. We grew up on the farm and stuff. I grew up hunting. I started hunting when I was about 5 years old. I got my first shotgun and a 410 Beretta single shot. And I always skinned animals and cleaned animals and did a lot of outdoors things with knives and stuff like that. And my father taught me how to use knives and things like that. He never taught me to baton with a pocket knife like you see people doing on YouTube. To me, that's the way all you're going to do by doing that is sure it may last for a while, but you're going to end up destroying your knife. You know, because number one, stainless steel is not really meant for that. Stainless steel is not a durable steel. It's not a high carbon spring steel. It's not the kind of steel that you can just pound on without nothing ever happening to it. You know, simple as that. And stainless steels are good. Stainless steels, in my opinion, are good for blades that are like under 12 inches. And because once you start going over that, lots of times you'll snap it if you hit something too hard with it. Make too hard of an impact with stainless steel. Blades that are too long, lots of times they'll just snap in half. Because it's not meant for that. That's not the purpose of stainless steel, stainless steel in a knife. Stainless steel in a knife is meant for like hunting, fishing, using things for like normal cutting chores or self-defense. But it's not a blade. It's not a kind of steel that you use for heavy camp use or destruction tests or whatever. I see a lot of people destroying stuff all the time. But anyway, awesome knife. Highly recommend this one. If you've been thinking about getting it, don't pay attention to the stuff I said yesterday. If you read up on that, I take back all of that. This is a knife I'm going to carry. This is going to be a user for me. It's going to get a lot of use, and I'm going to have it for a lot of years. Because this knife, if you take care of it properly, it should outlast you. It should be a knife that you can pass down to your children, to your sons and daughters. So that's how this knife's going to be for me. I really like it. I really like it. And when it comes to grip, I sort of like the Tau War better because the Tau War has more of a pistol grip like this. I love these cold steel pistol grips because they're better better grip for a fighting knife, if you ask me, because you can grip back here, you can get your full reach, and you can still have a good grip on the blade, and the blade fits in your palm of your hand. So if you have to stab something with it, the blade's not going to go anywhere because it's embedded into the palm of your hand, and so you won't slide forward on it. These knives, luckily they have a finger choil right here, so your hand won't go forward either, as long as you have a good grip. But if you're holding back here, you can't really grip it like a pistol grip. You really have to grip it from up here, I think, if you're gonna go forward with it and do something. Or like this. It has a little cutout right here, so you put your thumb in there and you can stab if you have to. But anyway, that's all I got for these. Bam. Let's show you one more time. Remember the other day I was doing it, I couldn't do it like that. Again, boom. Right there. Get a good grip on it. There you go. Alright, that's it. Stiletto out. Peace.